Hey there, everyone. How you doing? So just back from the gym, and I got an idea to record this video because I think I've been clear before. I watch Gary V and Grant Cardone while I work out, kind of different YouTube channels, and really, they bring up bring apart different messages, ideas. But something I've noticed lately is they seem to be taking pop shots at each other. Right? You would hear one talk about, yeah, there's some guy out there talking about garage sales and selling baseball cards, and the other one's talking about, gurus going out of business in the future and know your truth. And it just seems like these two gentlemen who are social media titans, arguably number one and two in the investing landscape, are, I don't know if declaring war on each other is the right idea. It's certainly a battle royale, as the title indicates. I wonder how much of it is true animosity versus maybe it's just hype, right? They're trying to hype up each other's channels and ideas. So you don't know. You never know. I'm guessing, at least from the personas that both parties put out, that they probably don't get along. I'm guessing that Gary V and Grant Cardone wouldn't be having dinner together, but again, I could be way off. But I thought I'd put together a quick video talking about some of the similarities and the differences that I have seen. But I'd love to hear from you. If you're like me and you follow both of them, have you noticed this change? Is it just me? Have you noticed how Gary and Grant are sort of tackling 2020? Just be curious to hear what you think. And if you have any other channels that you recommend that I should follow, leave them below. I'd love to see what you all listen to. Also, I'd love to be interviewed on more podcasts. So if you have a podcast or know of a podcast I should be on, do me a favor, send an introduction and say, hey, you need to talk to the one rental at a time guy. So without further ado, let me share what I put together for you. Again, the whole idea here is to get your ideas on this topic. Because again, I got a feeling when I came home today, it's like, wow, they're throwing little jabs at each other. They're not naming each other yet. I suspect that might be in the cards in the future, but I certainly see a brewing social media battle between Gary V and Grant Cardone. I think it's pretty clear there is no love loss between the two. I think it's equal. One of them is often referred to as the garage sale guy, and the other one has been called or referenced as the guru destined to blow up. It is, and it's only been like the last 60 or 90 days. I don't know what happened in their kind of circle. Maybe one of them put a video out there that the other one took as a jab and they jab back and it's blown up over something that was nothing. But I have certainly seen Grant, again, not by name. He's been very specific not to use a name, but he's talked about the garage sale guy. He's talked about the guy selling baseball cards and, thinking small and all of those things. And Gary's been pretty clear about these folks putting on a persona on YouTube, eventually blowing up and not being truthful. And, all these things come to an end. So I think it's pretty clear that Gary and Grant don't get along. Again, I think they're both professional enough not to call each other out, but it wouldn't shock me if some point this year one of them starts throwing the other's name around and see what happens. Let's talk about hustle. I think both of them have talked about hustle. Both are attached to the word hustle. Grind, get up and do, just move forward, all of that. I think one of their message around hustle is, hey, if you can, you must, right? If you can be a millionaire, you have to be a millionaire, right? You have to do it. If you can be a billionaire, you need to become a billionaire. It's, the whole, if you can do it, you need to do it and need to help other people. While the other one is like, this whole notion of hustle and all of that's kind of overblown. He doesn't like being associated with it. But what he's talking about now is do what makes you happy, right? If you like making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, be the best at making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and share that and do it so that the hustle doesn't feel like a job, right? I think one of their messages is just lean in and do and keep doing. The other is, if you love it, do it. It won't feel like work. So I think there's some subtle differences. It's certainly evolved. Certainly on Gary's side, the word hustle used to be a badge of honor he wore, and now he's like, "Don't give me that badge. I think it's bad." I think it's evolved for Grant as well. He is just doing some massive things, and he really does believe if you can become a billionaire, you need to, and he is well on his way and deserves our admiration for doing what he wants. I mean, I think that's what you do when you're financially free. Measures of success. I think this is the biggest difference I see. And again, this could all be persona. I could be missing it, reading between the lines. Maybe I'm off. Love to know what you think of this. Do you think I got this one right? I think one of them, and I think it's obvious who it is, wears money or net worth as the badge of honor, right? That's what success is to him. And the other is, hey, if you make $53,000 a year, but you're happy, you win, right? So I think one of them heading into 2020 is definitely on the kick of let's focus on being happy and finding out what makes you happy and doing that. While the other one is let's just go bigger. Bigger is better. Got to have more. Got to do more. Got to have more stuff. And hence money is the measure of success. But again, I could be wrong. Certainly both of them could afford to buy nearly anything they want. So it is interesting to see what you all think about this one. Family is also one that is so different. One of them puts their family on blast, is in most of their Instagram posts, shares the vacation photos. His wife actually has a growing channel in her own book and is a huge part of his business. So shout out Elena. She is doing big things and pulling along and inspiring other females and women and moms and daughters and the like and wives to do bigger and better things. So awesome. Where Gary's case, he's like, no, I'm the most public, private person you've ever met. I haven't looked very hard, but I trust him when he says, it's hard to find a picture of his wife and kids online. He doesn't put it out there. It's not the thing he does. He wants to keep them private. He doesn't do it for the Instagram likes or anything of that nature. So it's interesting to see how hard both of them work, but how one of them kind of, family is part of the journey and you get it and you admire it. And the other is like, nope, they're not part of the journey. And you got to admire that also. So it's just interesting how they tackle the family aspects of all of this. The notion of being a motivational speaker. This is one that's evolved for both of them. They both now appear on stage and frankly appear on stage together in the same events many times. I actually wonder, now that I'm doing this video, did they bump into each other at an event behind stage and just piss each other off maybe? Maybe it's just two big type A folks with huge egos going, you know what? I don't like that guy. Maybe that's what happened. I don't know. Be interesting to know. If you know, let me know. But one of them wears the badge of honor being a guru proudly and frankly deserves it, right? For giving all this time and documenting success and bigger is better and multiple markets, a huge team, well over 300 employees. Just awesome. And the other one is really shied away from it. And he really just wants to be known for the guy that tells his truth. He's on record as talking about, his message is pretty standard, right? He says the same 10 things all the time. He just says them in different ways because he never knows which way, at which time it's going to resonate with you. So it's interesting to see how both of these gentlemen who likely make millions of dollars a year speaking in front of audiences treat becoming a motivational speaker. It's just interesting. Here's another one that is vastly different. Selling stuff. One of them has a machine that starts with, free books and free stuff online. And once you get in, you are getting inundated with things to buy, courses, other books, being part of his capital raises, all of these things. And then the other almost never sells anything. In fairness, once every couple of years, he has a book come out that he talks about. And then he does these shoes, rare, limited edition shoes. I'm not a shoe person, so I don't really get it, but he's pretty proud of them. I've seen those. He doesn't really push them that hard. In fact, one of his social media posts is like, if you can't afford to buy 5 of these, don't buy one. Because he doesn't want people to waste their money. At least that's the message I took. It's pretty cool marketing, right? If you can't buy 5, don't buy one. I was like, oh, that's interesting. But again, the whole notion of creating a pipeline, creating multiple streams of income, one of them clearly is looking to create as multiple streams of income. And the other is like, nope, I'm about impact, growing his network, growing a number of people that follow and listen to him so that he can have a bigger influence later, right? He thinks in decades. So it's pretty interesting to see the difference. Goals. It's hard to really understand the goals of these two titans of social media. My impression of them is Grant's next goal is to be a billionaire. And I think there's a good chance he's a billionaire in 2020. He might be there in 2020. Can you imagine going from somebody that's worth $3,000 to $1 billion in a couple of decades? Pretty awesome. And then the other player is not really interested in the money or the kudos. He just wants to be remembered. He wants that legacy impact for generations after he is, gone. And that's how he kind of tackles this. So it's really interesting to see. It's really interesting to see and try to figure out what's the North Star for these social media titans, because you can really take this social media thing in lots of different directions. And it's interesting to watch what really is the motivation. Here's one I thought was really interesting. Do you know what each of them's thoughts on owning a home is? It's the same. Both of them have been recorded saying buying a home is a bad investment. I think that's comical. Gary Vee talks about buying a home is getting you on the treadmill of life and you can never get off. Grant's like, why buy when you can rent and use that money somewhere else? So it's pretty interesting that both of these titans of social media basically are down on owning a primary residence. Now, it's funny because I think they both own. I think Grant owns inside an LLC, perhaps. And I think Gary's on record saying he owns too, but he thinks it was a bad investment. Frankly, I think he's credited with saying the reason he didn't invest in Uber was because he would just bought this place in Manhattan, if I remember the story correctly. So pretty crazy to think about both of these gentlemen saying owning a home is not a good investment. So I try to boil down what I've taken from their social media messages, and I tried to get at just the last 30 or 60 days, because I think both of these gentlemen are evolving. As they grow bigger, as their influence grows, as their money grows, I'm sensing different things. One of them seems to have tweaked, I don't know, pretty hard or sort of hard towards the look at me, look at what I have. Did a world tour and 6-star resorts and watches and cars and all of those things, which I get it. There's certainly a section of the audience that watches his stuff that just eats that up and probably gets you into the funnel to buy his book and buy his courses and stuff. I get it. Not very attractive to me. And one of the things that is just not sat well with me the last 60 days. And then the other message is kind of forcing you to look in the mirror. Are you happy? Why not? What can you do to be happy? Figure it out. Ask yourself hard questions. It's interesting to see how their messages are evolving heading into 2020. So in the end, that's what I've seen. If you watch Gary Vee and Grant Cardone, I would really, really love to hear what you have to say. I think both of their messages have changed pretty drastically in the last 60 or 90 days. And, it'll be curious to see what you think. And some of these, you may think I got wrong. Totally cool. Love to hear it. I also think I probably missed some. So let me know what you think. And, let me know if you think they're battling, because maybe I'm just reading too much into it and I'm just wrong, which happens. So at the end of the day, wanted to share with you. Again, finished the gym and I'm like, I got to get this out, see what people think. So take care, and we'll talk to you tomorrow on the Daily Financial News. Have fun.